we're dealing with a very complicated situation here that makes our classic definition of herd immunity very elusive.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci. And Lisa, I mean, this is another question which we touched on, but basically, this person is maybe turning it a little bit more political. Should we be worried about future variants? And this person writes in, sometimes it feels like big pharma companies are taking advantage of the situation. Let me ask you, and we'll go to Stefan on this. Like, how can we bridge the divide between believers and non-believers?
Because there are some inherent non-believers that no matter what you say, are going to give you a real problem. One of the things that I believe the entire world is facing, but we certainly are facing it in a very, very disconcerting way in the United States, is the amount of disinformation that is accompanying what should be a problem where everyone pulls together against the common enemy, which is the virus. We have disinformation that is entirely destructive to a comprehensive public health endeavor. And I'm not sure how we're going to counter that except by getting out as much correct information as we possibly can and use the social media in a positive way as opposed to in the somewhat destructive way that it is being used right now.
And Lise, your thoughts? And also, there's a difference, right, between what virologists say, so looking at how worried we should be at these variants, and sometimes what politicians say, because they focus more on reopening the economy.
Well, let me share a word of optimism. We are in a different space than we were 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we had a population of 7.7 billion people with zero immunity to this virus. Now, more than 50% of the world's population has received 2 doses. And this is further strengthened with now the rapid also immunity being built up by natural infection. So we're in a different space, and we now need to rethink and reevaluate some of our strategies.
Stefan, your take. First of all, there has been quite a lot of questions on pharmaceutical companies. Also, how do you encourage vaccination, right? Is there a way that companies such as Moderna need to communicate differently or put up data differently that encourages people to get vaccinated?
Yeah, so the vaccination question is, of course, a very complicated one. I mean, many public health experts and governments have tried really hard for now 2 years to get people to believe in the vaccines. And of course, there's always a better job that we can all do, starting from the companies, in terms of explaining the science, explaining the side effects, explaining the long-term benefit, and the risk-reward of getting a vaccine versus not getting a vaccine. I think a lot has been done, but clearly more can be done. But as Tony said, what is sad is all the misinformation that we are seeing every day online, sometime on TV, about the vaccine and what they do and what they don't do is really sad in today's world.
Stefan, can I ask you something specifically about some of these vaccines? And this person is also writing in, look, does a vaccine designed for Alpha or Delta also works well enough against Omicron? And how much faster have you been able to adapt some of these vaccines for every new variant?
Sure. So the vaccines that are currently available were for the original strain. They have not been adapted, that I'm aware of, to the Alpha or to the Beta strain, at least ours has not. As we've seen and shared the data very quickly when we had it, and we had a strong partnership with Dr. Fauci's team on the data generation in the fall around Thanksgiving when Omicron appeared. What was seen is we saw an important drop of neutralizing antibody after 2 doses of the vaccine. But what we saw, thankfully, is after a 3rd dose, there was very strong protection, which is why you saw around the world all the public health experts and governments urging people that had not been boosted to get a 3rd dose to protect them, especially people at a high risk. What we're doing, and we started this the Wednesday before Thanksgiving,